Hello and welcome back to another episode of Make a Change. I am your host Katharina Schuster and welcome. Everyone who has never been here, welcome. And everyone who is new, now got it wrong. Everyone who is new, welcome. Everyone who is not new, welcome back. Alright guys, let's get into this. This is episode 18. Okay, so we are talking today about consistency. I know, boring, but hear me out. So, I see a lot of people in the gym, in my coaching programs. They do want to lose body fat, they want to build muscle, they want to look good, they want to have this and that and this and that. The problem, what always occurs is the consistency, which is the most underrated tool in the entire world. So they're usually starting off strong because motivation is high. My eye is somehow tearing. Motivation is high and people relying on motivation. Everyone knows, oh yeah, I know motivation, I can't rely on it, but in the end you still do. Motivation will kick your ass. So what then it comes down is to a routine. So consistency often fails because of a lot of different reasons. Which I come to in a second. So often when we see a little bit of results, and I have to say I used to be a victim of this myself when I over 13 years ago when I started with my own fitness journey. I started something started to lose weight or things like that, and then I saw progress. I saw, oh, my tummy is nice and flat now, and I basically stopped what got me to there and fell back to my old habits, which got me, my body, right back to where I started. And basically what I did, I was self-sabotaging myself, and then I felt bad about myself, and then I oh, fuck it. And I see this behavior needed to change. And over the years, I did change my behavior. I have done a lot of mindset work until I was able to actually achieve my goals. And exactly the same behavior I do see with people I talk to, and I do see in my clients. So, reasons. So I did write today for the very first time in 18 episodes. I actually wrote up a script so I don't lose the points, because I usually kind of forget what I was talking and I talk about something else. So often we trying to do, oh yeah, that plan that worked for my friend, or that plan that worked for the friend of the friend. And we say, I do this as well. But this plan might not fit with your life. This plan is maybe a plan that doesn't work with your body. And you started because you said, okay, this plan worked with my friend or the friend of a friend. But you don't really see these results. So you give up. And then often negative thoughts are coming up oh, I just can't be disciplined, I can't do this, or I'm a failure. So no, you are not the failure. You only fail if you give up. If you keep continuing what you're doing, even if you had a bad day or a bad week, if you keep going, you're not failing. You're just practicing. So if you're just changing a few words, then that helps us to actually keep up this consistency. So therefore if you've been watching my episodes, you know that I always talk about finding a strategy and a structure that fits within your life. Because if the diet is a diet that doesn't fit in your life, you're not gonna stick with it. And this is exactly what I do inside my coaching, is that I really look at the person. Okay, what are your responsibilities? How does your day look like? How does your week look like? Where can we fit in training, nutrition? Where can we fit in our coaching sessions? How can we make it work that you are not overwhelmed? So this is the first reason why we're failing with our consistency. The second reason is the gap between the consistency, the gap between the reality, I should use my notes, and our expectations. Often we have these wild expectations of the way how we want to look like. And because we're living in a world of social media, we see all these beautiful bodies, these toned, even shredded bodies, and we start a program because we have this picture in our mind. This is what we want to look like as well. And there's no way that you cannot achieve this goal, whatever that goal might look like for you. But often we may be setting us a time frame that is way too short. If you do have a bit of more body fat, like let's say 25+% body fat, and you're looking for a very toned body in like a month or two, that's not realistic. So if you would give you a time frame, let's say a year maybe, or even more than a year, that is a little bit more realistic. But this is where our brain goes wild again. So now we want it now, we want it now, we want everything now. But that is just not possible. So if we would set our goals, like I usually do with my clients, we have one big goal, which is maybe this beautiful toned body, whatever picture you have on your mind. I literally sometimes, some of my clients, they're actually giving me pictures of women or men that they admire. And I look at it and so like, okay, cool, let's do it. And then I say, we can maybe achieve it in 3 years. And I often pull back then when I say that, but it's just, I want to kind of limit your expectation. And with this, I don't want to push you down. I don't want to make you feel bad about it. It doesn't mean that this goal is not achievable. It's just not achievable in the next few months. So my coaching program is 16 weeks. You might have to triple that to come to that goal. But when we say, okay, we're starting with a fat loss phase, we can achieve maybe 10 kilograms down or 5 kilograms down, depending on what your starting position is. But often what we need to combine this, because when, for example, women are often really afraid of getting too bulky, which promise you won't get bulky. But that woman that you maybe have in mind that is really like nice and toned, that woman has actually a lot of muscle. And you're not gaining, like you're not getting super big. Like in 3-4 months of a muscle building phase, you add like 1 or 2 millimeters of muscle thickness. So muscles are getting measured with a B mode ultrasound ideally, and a B mode ultrasound measures the size of your muscle as muscle thickness. So that is from the surface of your bone to the surface of your skin. That's the muscle thickness. And we're talking millimeters, guys. You're not even seeing that with your eye. The scan can see it, but not your eyes. So until you're actually getting that big, imagine what you need to do. And these women or men that you see with really these big muscles, they have most likely use PEDs. So just like what I usually do, like that one woman, I had one woman, she, as I said, she actually gave me a photo of a woman, what she wants to aim for. And I said, yeah, cool. So we started because she had quite a bit of excess body fat. So we started with a fat loss phase. But then I said we're going into a building phase, because when you want to look like this woman, you actually need to have muscle. Like from dieting alone, you won't look toned, because if you don't have muscle, you got nothing to tone. Make sense? All right. And that muscle building phase, like minimum 20 weeks, really, because as I just said, it's such a slow process. And it doesn't mean that we need to gain a lot of body fat in a building phase. I think this is the other fear a lot of people have, that building muscle means getting fat. This is absolutely not the case. So we usually go, when we're going into like a really proper building phase, yes, we go into a slight caloric surplus. I'm talking like 5 to 10% above your maintenance calories. And that's really not that much above your calories, above your maintenance. I mean, 5 to 10% out of, let's say your maintenance calories is 2000 calories, 10% out of that, that is 200. So it would be 2200 calories. So that's not the major. And then we may be aiming for 100 or 200 grams of weight increase per week. So, and the weight increase, you also need to understand that this is not just fat. There might be some fat, but it is also glycogen, because in a muscle building phase, we're increasing your carbohydrates. So carbohydrates that are not being like used for energy, they're getting stored as glycogen in your muscles and in your liver. And every gram of glycogen binds to 2.5 milliliters of water. This is then where we look a little bit fluffy and a little bit like, yeah, watery and yeah, puffy. And this is also where the scale goes up. So, but this has nothing to do that you're gaining body fat. And you're also even hopefully gaining some lean muscle as well. So that obviously is extra weight. And then when we have finished that building phase, we're going maybe at maintenance or straight back into a caloric deficit, because then we need to reveal what you have built. And ideally, we're going then back to measuring your muscles via a B-mode ultrasound. That would be the ideal. I actually don't have access to it. I wish I had. So I can actually not say if you have built muscle or not without the scan. But what we can do is then we're having your before and after photos, because when you're starting out with me, we're taking photos. And every month we're taking photos of your body as a progress, as an evidence of progress. And then when we're going back into this fat loss phase, we take photos again, and then we will see a difference in your physique. And then if that physique is looking leaner and you're seeing a little bit of muscle definition, then I can say with confidence, yes, we possibly build muscle here. And yeah, and then the third reason that I got for you why consistency might fail is that you really not have changed your behaviors. So when you're starting, let's stay with the fat loss phase. When you maybe go into like a diet, and you're deciding, whatever you're deciding, if you're deciding on going some sort of intermittent fasting, or if you're going keto, or if you're going flexible dieting with macro tracking, but you have not really adapted to those changes. Like, it's very similar to the first reason. You kind of stopped doing what you have been doing and then regained all the weight, which is kind of stopping the trust in yourself. I think I just heard my cat. Which is breaking the trust to yourself, and then you think, well, I just give up. So because you haven't actually changed your identity. So when you are current personal, I think that's Wildcat. Sorry, I'm distracted by the cat. We're almost done here. So when you need to change your identity. So when you're changing your physique, you also kind of need to become a different person in the way you are thinking. You need to make sure that you're continuing eating high protein, that you continue training. And that also comes back that we're having a realistic plan that you actually can stick to in the long run. And that's my washing machine in the background. I hope you understand what I mean. One of the other things that I need to really point into consistency is the consistency over the weekend, which I call the Monday trap. So over the weekend, we often, of course, socializing, but then we stop tracking our macros, we stop planning. So what I often say is when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So especially when it comes to the weekend, we're going out, maybe having drink, going out to restaurants, eating different foods. You really need to make sure that you're planning ahead, knowing roughly what food you're going to eat, maybe to what kind of restaurant you're going, that you're tracking your macros roughly. I know we can't really do that exactly, but you get better at estimating your macros when you're practicing it, like with everything. And like really said, okay, maybe putting 1,000 or 1,200 calories away for that restaurant visit, because trust me, in a restaurant, eating 1,000 calories is very, very easy. So if you're planning that ahead, and then putting all your other meals in line with that restaurant visit, then you will be more likely to not fall into the Monday trip if you don't do it. Because if you go into the weekend, oh, I'm going out with my friends doing this and this, and you're having 1 or 2 drinks, and then fuck it, I start over on Monday again. This is exactly why you won't see results. And what else is on my notes? Yeah. And yeah, that's almost everything I needed to say. So yeah, just like a little bit of a summary, like how do we build consistency? Firstly, make sure you're having a plan that is in line with your values, that is obviously a plan that actually gets you to your goal, and that is also that the plan is realistic. The plan is maybe set up in different phases, like a fat loss phase, a maintenance phase, muscle building phase, another fat loss phase, maybe some maintenance phases where you maybe just give your body a little bit of a break, give your body a little bit time to recover again. Maybe you're putting in some diet breaks, which is basically the maintenance phase. Maybe you're going on a holiday, then you're planning in that holiday, making sure that in those holidays you're not regaining a bunch of body fat. Like all of these things, really thinking that through. And if you do have trouble, just find a coach that maybe helps you with that. Many coaches actually give free or paid consultations, I should say. I do offer a free consultation where we just, like, it's a 15 to 30 minute call via Zoom, where we just will be discussing your goal, what is actually necessary to get you to your goal, and then see if we are fit and deciding if we're wanting to move ahead with coaching or not. Or many coaches, I actually don't do this at the moment, but often coaches, they are offering like paid consultations where they're actually truly delivering strategies and giving you away things. I do have though a lot of educational material. So if you're interested in anything in health and fitness, like I do have educational material about muscle building and cutting. What is behind, what is the science behind. I got a lot because many of my female clients are currently coaching, they are all in the onset of perimenopause or like right in the middle of it. And I have educational guides about that where the science is explained. I'm a little bit of a science nerdy. And then we do have, I think the best thing is if you just jump over onto my Instagram. I put my Instagram up here. It's just Katharina Schuster Coaching. I deliver a lot of valuable information about training, nutrition, and mindset on a daily basis where you really can take a lot away from it, and that hopefully helps you. And then obviously if things resonate with you and are in line with you, send me a DM and we can book in a free call, really no strings attached, where we're really discussing your goals, what is realistic for you, and then deciding the way how we want to move on. And and then the next steps would be obviously when we got the plan, like really putting in the daily reps, like really doing daily, like do your training or your cardio, do your steps, do your nutrition, plan ahead, learn how to track your nutrition, really doing those things on repeat day by day by day by day, because then it becomes a habit, and then your brain also realizes, okay, that's something new, and your brain starts adapting to this. And this is also then where you are creating those behaviors, and which then hopefully transforms in that new identity, in that man or in that woman that you want to become. And the last point is then, following through, because the number one reason why people do not achieve their goals is that they don't follow through. Often you know what to do, but you don't follow through. And this is really the main thing. And that is it. That is the whole magic. All right, guys, so let's wrap this up here. And if you did like it, please hit that bell, give me a follow, share this post to people that you think that could help them. And really, I want to help as many people as I can. So just please like it, share it, tell it to your friends, tell it to your family. And I hope you liked it and you could take things away from it. And I see you in the next one. And my name is Kate, and I'm your host. This is my podcast, Make a Change, and I hope you can use this to make a change. Bye.